the virtual Tableau user group. So it's been a couple of months since we hosted our first event for this group back in May. And anyone who's new to the group or who missed a session last time, don't worry, there is a recording of that event that's sitting on Tableau's YouTube channel. And we also have a link to this on our community forum space that we've got set up for this group. And if you hang around till the end of the session, we'll be posting links up for these for you to check out. I should say that we'll also be recording this session, so if you do have to drop off partway through, then you'll be able to catch up afterwards. We'll be sending out a link to that as well as the content of the presentations. So I'll start off with a couple of quick introductions, mainly for the new members that we've got tuned in today. So my name is James Goodall, and I'm the Analytics Support Specialist at Surrey County Council. So as well as the day-to-day kind of data analytics provisioning and support that I do here, I spend a portion of my time looking at developing the data community, so both within Surrey and for the wider local public sector. And so now that we've got this group going, hopefully a little bit wider still. So leading the group with me is Mike Henry, who is Head of Intelligence at Kirklees Council. So Mike gave great insight into Kirklees' current position and their plans for implementing Tableau at the last session. So if you're fairly near the start of your Tableau journey and are scouting for some common experiences, then I'd recommend going and checking out the recording of that session. So just again, a little bit of brief history around this event. Mike and I were put in contact with each other a few months ago because we both had a desire to start working to try and kick off some wider collaboration within the Tableau and analytics community across different public sector organisations, but kind of both realising that we were somewhat limited in terms of geography. So after a few conversations with each other and with the fantastic help of Caroline from Tableau, this group was set up. And so our vision for this is really to become much more than just hosting webinars every now and then. You know, we want to see this become a hub and a meeting place for people of all different public sector backgrounds to share experiences and knowledge, as well as work together on various projects that might provide, you know, benefits and insights to each other. But I'll leave that for Mike to come on to a little bit later on. So you've heard enough from me today. So I'll quickly go over the plan for our session, then we'll get on to the interesting bits. So first up today, we've got Andrew Macnaughton from the IG Group, who's got a really interesting story to present on the work that the IG Group have been doing with the Haven Care project down in Plymouth. We'll then have a 5 to 10 minute Q&A session where you can ask any questions that you might have for Andrew around his presentation. But you don't need to wait until the end of the session to ask the questions. You should be able to see a Q&A box at the bottom of your screen where you can post these questions throughout Andrew's talk, and we can pick them up afterwards. I should say there is a chat box and a Q&A box, so if you do have questions for Andrew, please make sure you put them in the Q&A box rather than the chat one. Then after Andrew's talk, and without a touch of nepotism, I assure you, we will then have Surrey's very own Anu, who is an advanced public health analyst and who has a wealth of experience working with Tableau in her sector. And Anu will be talking about a series of hackathon events that she's been coordinating across Surrey Heartlands with an aim of producing collaboratively designed and insightful visualizations. So again, after Anu's presentation, there'll be a short Q&A session. And again, you can ask questions throughout the talk and we can pick them up at the end. And then finally for today, to round things off, Mike will give a quick summary around the next steps for this community, how we can start engaging with each other, and possibly hint at a couple of exciting things that we've got in the pipeline. So I'm sure you're all thoroughly sick of hearing my voice by now. So without any further delay, I'll hand over to Andrew.
Great, thanks, James, and hello, everyone. My name's Andrew. I am from the IG Group, and it's great to be here today talking to you all. I think we've got a really interesting little project to present, quite unusual, and using some things within Tableau that perhaps people haven't seen before. So I'm the head of analytics here at the IG Group. I also lead our software development team. And this is really the project that I'll be talking you through today. I've got a few slides to show you first, but then I'm going to kick straight into a demo. I think probably showing you these things is the easiest way to gain an understanding. So I won't hang on too long on the slides, but we've got a few to go through. So first of all, a bit about IG. We're a business transformation consultancy at heart. We've been around for the best part of 15 years. Our key focus isn't just about trying to enable organizations to onboard better methods of doing analytics. but actually to also take their data and facilitate change within their organization and innovation based on data. So we help combat the gap between that potentially sits between an analyst and someone that actually makes decisions and drives the organization forward. So our background, we work across all different public sector organizations, as well as some other areas as well. So we've worked with clients within council, housing, NHS, education, and such. I'll introduce you to a couple of our services. So customer service is one of our main focuses. This really does encompass a very broad customer service definition. So this would include things like how we facilitate better client and patient services, as well as more traditional sort of contact center based customer service. We also do customer experience and user experience strategy to help organizations improve how they're interfacing with people that they're engaging with. And then really at heart, and that's what I'm here to talk to you today about, really is our data services. And this is where Tableau fits into it as well. So moving on to the actual project that I'm going to talk to you today about. First of all, to slightly correct James at the start, they're not based in Plymouth. It's actually a London-based NHS trust. It's King's College Hospitals. The Havens are a set of 3 SARCs, which is a sexual assault referral centre. They've been around for quite a long time. They are part of, I think it's something like 43 SARCs across the UK. They were set up about 15 years ago in response to rising rates of sexual violence and sexual assault.
Andrew, sorry to interrupt you. Sorry, but we can't see your screen at the moment.
Oh, apologies. Okay. Right.
Fantastic, got.
Okay. Right, let's go on. Apologies for that. Okay, so hopefully you can see my screen now. So yeah, we're working with the Havens at King's College NHS Trust, and their vision really was to move to an entirely paperless service. They really wanted to have things like tablets within their interview rooms, within their examination rooms, and really be able to have a very low barrier between when they're talking to a person, and rather than have to sit and scribble down a piece of paper, they can actually have an easier way to engage with clients via using a tablet. So that was their initial vision. So we're involved with them in creating this very unique case management system that's very flexible to meet their requirements. And as part of this, Tableau has been put in there to really facilitate the reporting challenges that they have. They get asked a lot of very ad hoc requests. They get a lot of different organizations asking them for information. And it can be very time consuming to be able to actually produce reports and generate data from a case management system. I think this probably is true of any case management system. They can be quite complex systems. They've got a lot of different data within them, and they're not always that easy to connect to and just lift out the information that you're after. So this is really some of the challenges that we're trying to solve. So the objectives of the project really, so firstly was improve service efficiency, and this was largely through the advent of electronic electronic forms rather than paper-based record keeping, and it really frees staff time to spend more time with clients, which is really one of a very key objective. I'm sure this is true of every public sector organisation as well, is ensuring safety of your clients, of your patients, keeping better record and making sure quality targets are met. I think there's a very easy solution for a lot of people, which is Excel is there, let's use that. And it's very fundamental to the project that we're currently undertaking to try to get people out of the mindset of using Excel for things they really shouldn't be used for. And when it comes down to things like data governance and quality, providing a solution here that gets around that is really fundamental. Reporting challenges, I think every organisation has some sort of reporting challenge. It doesn't matter how far along you are in your journey. But really bringing in Tableau here, really helping solve those ad hoc reporting requirements, and also being able to present data in a very meaningful way, and a very simple way, actually, a lot of the time to end users who maybe don't have a technical background is really, really important. And then finally, really the ultimate aim here is to improve the prevention, detection, prosecution of sexual assault, and that really is through a combination of all the different objectives and the service and processes that they have there as well. We're really just trying to facilitate them to have more free time to really focus on client care. So I'll go quickly through a couple of the features of our system. I'm not going to hang on them for very long because I want to talk to you about the Tableau elements of it specifically, but just to give you some awareness. So we have customizable electronic forms, workable on tablets and desktop. We can create custom fields, which is actually a very interesting one as well because it creates complexity within reporting. So if someone creates a field in your database, how can you make report automatically reflect the new fields that come in? And it's just something that we can support through using Tableau as the reporting engine of our solution. Typical client case management system, we obviously support appointment and clinic management. And then this last one, personalizing the user interface, is really the part that I'm going to focus on a little bit going forward, because this is where we can start embedding Tableau dashboards into the user interface of the actual case management system. So you've got a very seamless transition between some of your reporting and how you're actually managing cases as well. So the concepts I'm going to demonstrate next. So we've got the integrated and embedding Tableau, how we can use URL actions to actually integrate with the system, and then just how this all comes together to enable users on a day-to-day basis to perform their role. Right, so I'm going to swap over to my my actual application now. So hopefully everyone can see this still. This is my default application. It's a standard dashboard of 4 widgets, effectively. So each of these boxes is effectively what I'm calling a widget here. Now they're fairly static, and we have to develop them individually to meet the requirements of the havens. And they can be quite tricky to design. They can be tricky to change if someone suddenly wants to, to see something else. And this is really where we're trying to bring in some Tableau to actually allow very customizable interfaces depending on different staff roles, because a case management system can be used from anyone from an admin staff to a doctor to a police officer. It really is very wide in this scope, and trying to make the interface work for every user is very difficult. But then when you have the ability to create dashboards in the way that Tableau allows you to, it really can unlock a lot of potential. So what we have within here, I can go to my dashboard builder. I'm not going to build a dashboard today. I'm going to swap to one I've already built before, and I've called it reports here. So if I swap to this one, and I'll make it my active one, and I'll go back to my main screen. So now what we can see, I've replaced the boxes. This one on the left and this one down here, these are now Tableau dashboards. They've just been embedded into my application. And from here, I can interact with them as if any other Tableau dashboard. So I can say, I can use my filters, I can change my date range. So for instance, I might want to see a bit more information. I'll say at this point, all names, all information is completely fake. It's no identifiable information at all, just in case anyone worries. So from here, I can see, for instance, in this case, it would be a list of client names, when they came in. I can search through them. I can say, is it my case? Am I assigned to them? This actually uses Tableau's user filters to be able to say, what is my login? And automatically can say if that's my case or not. So we've got that one in there. And then this bottom one on the right, again, it's just a very standard Tableau dashboard. And I think this is probably one that isn't useful for a lot of people. It's kind of shows me the number of cases per day. But depending on my role, I mean, it might not make a big difference to me. So what I'm going to move on to is creating a new widget, so a new dashboard in this case. So I will then actually swap, and I'll open Tableau. And the question I wanted to answer here is, if I'm a psychologist, for instance, and I want to say, I want to be alerted to my high-risk cases that are coming in, and I want to make sure that I assign the case and that I pick that up, how can I facilitate myself in doing that? So in this case, I'm going to answer this by building this Tableau dashboard. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is connect to a Tableau data source. And this is effectively a cleaned up data source. So it's in Tableau 2019.2, as of the latest edition, you can certify a data source. So this would be one that you would certify. You could say, right, this is trusted. You can have standard calculations within it to make sure everyone's using the same information. reporting the same results. So by doing this, I make sure that my data is accurate, and it makes it a lot easier from an end user perspective to be able to just connect to data without having to understand complex SQL, being able to join tables together, just being able to connect to databases even can be difficult. So this really alleviates all of those challenges so that even less technical users can come along and quite easily connect to data and know that they're working with accurate information. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to call this sheet just risk, because this is where I just want to identify what clients might actually have risk associated to them in terms of some of the vulnerability factors that might be applicable. So the first thing, as most people do when they create a Tableau dashboard, I'm just going to put the number of records onto my dashboard. I'm going to move it into the columns just so that I can see it in a sort of horizontal fashion. And the next thing I'm going to use is this vulnerability flag calculation. This is, as I say, already created within my data set. So it's a standard factors that identify how clients get grouped into these categories. So this, as we can see, these are the categories that I have. Now, I might say I'm not really that interested in the ones that are low or low to moderate, or certainly not none for the purposes of this report. So now I'm just going to filter them out. I'm just going to exclude them off the chart. So I'm just left with moderate and high, and assumingly, if someone comes in with high, it would automatically just show on the chart as well. I'm just going to hide the field labels. And I need some color on here just so that I can identify this a little bit better. And I think I'll sort it the other way around so that I've got my high vulnerability one showing up at the top. And let's just apply another color to it just so that I can I really, really strongly identify the ones that I need to be addressing. I'm going to stick the label on here just so that I can see some numbers, and I'll just hide this axis to free some space for myself. And I might as well make it full screen. So this is the sort of very basis of a widget that I might create for my dashboard. However, it's a little bit basic in the sense that I don't actually know who these clients are. I can see that I've had 4 clients that have come in and they've been flagged as moderate to high risk. I think the next step that we need to go on here is actually to say, can I show some clients alongside this information? Now, there's a couple of ways I could go about doing it. I could actually use Tableau's Vision Tooltip and just list them. But in the case of 107 clients down here, it would make a very big tooltip, which would probably be a little bit challenging for us. So what I'm going to do is a little bit of a different approach. So I'm going to create another sheet, which is called clients. And I am going to, first of all, put on whether or not they've been assigned to a case worker. So no is effectively the clients come in, they've maybe been interviewed, they've maybe taken some basic information, but they haven't actually been assigned, say, a psychologist or a counsellor, or they haven't been assigned any support staff associated to them. So that's my first marker that I want to look at. The next thing I could do is put in the client's name. So in this case, I'm going to pick name. And I'll have a look at the gender as well, because that might be useful for me. I actually want to see the assigned as the text, so I'm going to just drag that in there, and I'll just hide my header just to preserve the order. So I've effectively here got the ones that aren't assigned first, and then the ones that are assigned afterwards. So this is my basic chart that will list me some clients. So from here, I can create a dashboard. I'm going to call the dashboard risk assessment. I'll create it as a automatically sized one, so I know that it will scale to the size of the container when I actually embed it into my application. I'll drag a horizontal container on, and I'll just drag some of these bits into here. I can hide the titles because for the purposes I'm doing it, I don't need them. And I'll just get rid of some of these containers that Tableau has probably put on here for me that I don't need. And then I can just drag this so I get a full screen view on it. Now, this list is great. It's obviously currently not filtering. I can click around these and nothing will happen. But as soon as I click on the little thing, then I can then say, okay, these 3 clients are the ones that are moderate to high risk. So that's the first step. So what I'm going to now do is publish this dashboard just like this. So then I can see it embedded into my application. So I'm going to call it risk assessment. And I'm going to publish it to my server. What I can then do from here, I can go and change the view. So I can refresh, and what I should have down here is my new dashboard. So I can just bring that in and it will load, hopefully. And there we go. We have my dashboard. So I can then still interact with it as if I normally would. So I can just move between these two and it will filter the clients for me. Now this is obviously, this is great starts, but there is a limitation here, which is I know these clients are here, but I can't actually get to their cases. It's Tableau is showing me the information, but I can't then quickly go and edit stuff. I can't quickly assign the case. Now this is where we can use some URL actions to actually interact with the system. So I'll show you an example first of all with this existing widget that we have here. For instance, if I click on Clifford Stevenson here, it will then navigate me using the Tableau URL action to that client's actual case record. Now, so this is the view that we've got here. So then I can scroll through, I can see, in this case, the appointments that they've been to and any notes that are associated to them. But we can extend that one step further. So if I go back to my original dashboard here, I can add an action. So if I add a URL action here, I've prepared the string already to save me having to type it in. So this is the string that effectively allows me to generate the action that will allow me to assign a client. Now, in this case, we've designed our application so it supports this string. Other applications you may still be able to navigate to. It really depends on the individual application itself. We don't want this to run on the risk sheet. We just need it to run on the client one, which is this right-hand side screen, and we'll run it on select. Now it's telling me I'm missing a couple of fields, and that's because I haven't put client ID and case ID into the detail of my other view. So I'll just quickly go back to that one. We go into here. So what we have is a situation where the client ID is just the ID of the client, and the case ID is if the client has come in multiple times, they'll be assigned multiple cases. So in this case, we have a few here that have multiple cases assigned to them. Right. So if we now go back here, what we can do is click on one of these, and it will just take us straight to that client record. And not only that, it will actually take us to the assign case screen. So I can see it's actually put my name in here because it knows who I am. And then I can just hit assign, and that will assign that client's case. And then as soon as I refresh my dashboard, that will reflect all of these data sources are based on live connections to the SQL database. So as soon as I actually refresh, hopefully Eleanor Williams will then go to an assigned case. Hopefully. Don't know if my data is refreshed. Okay, we'll come back to that one. What I can then do anyway is publish the workbook so that I've now got it with that URL action included. So I'll actually not publish all my sheets this time, I'll just publish my dashboard. It's going to overwrite the existing one that's there. And now if I come to my dashboard and I refresh, it will just reload in the new report. And so down here, I can filter, I can see those ones are assigned, I can filter and see the ones that aren't assigned, and then I can click and go to that actual record, and it will load in me to that client. So it creates a very seamless view of reporting without having to feel like you're going through multiple systems. You can still get the information easy, you can customize the information that you're seeing, and you can still interact with the underlying case management solution to make sure that it's a very easy flow for all users to go through. There is another addition that we've got in here as well, as the widget's showing, as we've got here. We can also have the reports directory, and these reports are actually reports that are published on Tableau server. So these are ones that we've already created. So I could say go to a registrations report. This will open the dashboard in Tableau server, but we can use the the URL parameters up here to hide the Tableau interface, so that it feels like a single system for people. It doesn't feel like they're moving between lots of different applications, which can be very daunting for a lot of users. So they can quickly come to this dashboard. They can use it fairly intuitively. They can click on information. They can hover over to get more information. And then again, we have some of these actions that allow you to assign cases and actually interact with clients directly from the dashboard without having to go through lots of different steps. We've got some other reports in here as well. Things like demographics is really interesting. We can use Tableau to map the London boroughs to see, okay, where are people coming from? Where's where are people being assaulted in this case? And also distance as well. If we have the assault location, we've got the client's postcode, then we can say, okay, how far away are people from the house when it's happening? All sorts of different trends that we can use to identify. We can provide it to the police. We can provide it to other services to then actually take action on as well, and really improve some of the reporting and detection of some of these cases. Okay, so that's largely everything I had to show you today. I'm sure there'll be some questions. There's quite a lot more that we can actually integrate here. This is still a system that is in development in places. And so some of the actions that we've got, we've obviously shown you the assign to case action today. There are other ones as well that we're looking to implement, things like being able to create appointments directly from a Tableau dashboard. All of those things are very possible for us. And it really, as we move forward and build up the solution, we'll come up with a lot more interesting ways that we can really bridge that gap between what would just typically be a reporting dashboard to something that's actually a real day-to-day tool for people to be able to use, and really use Tableau to provide the customization to make sure that it fits to exactly the purpose that people need of it. So that's what I've got for now. Shall we hand over to any questions?
Andrew, thank you.
Yep.
That was really interesting. So yeah, I can hear the sounds of people scribbling down to see whether their applications can link in with those URL actions as we speak.
Yeah.
Just having a look in the Q&A box, I can't actually see that any have come through at the moment.
Okay.
But I did have one, if that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was just wondering, so has this been rolled out to actual users of the system yet? And if it has, have you had much feedback on this?
Yeah, we're currently at a testing phase, so it has been rolled out. It's only to a small subset of the users at the moment. The initial feedback is, there's, you can see a huge amount of value in this, and I think going forward as we expand out to more users, it will obviously become more and more apparent. I think really the heart of this project that we've really been trying to focus on is simplicity for people, and being able to customize dashboards and actually really be able to bring it into the application and bridge the gap between reporting is being seen as a huge benefit to them, just in time saving as much as anything, and outside of just the sort of embedding actions that we've got. From an analyst perspective, being able to use Tableau with this case management solution is also saving them a huge amount of time. And they're very quickly, if they haven't already, going to see value in it, in the sense that they are using Excel at the moment. They are using things like Access databases, and it really is just changing the way that they think about data and that they can work with it as well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Yeah, as I thought, it kind of it looks like a one-stop shop for everything, really. So while we've been talking, we have had quite a few questions come through. So we've had a couple on the use of URL actions. So one of them was from Sharon Wren, who's asking around, tried to use the URL link before, it worked, but each time it opened another occurrence of the system. Can you get around that?
Yeah, I mean, that is one that we've been looking at as well. It's not an easy one to get around, unfortunately. Tableau will always try to open you up in a new tab, so it will generally open up a new occurrence of the system. it really depends on the system that you're using, how impactful that will be, and if it will work or if it won't. As of yet, I don't know of a way of avoiding that from happening. So yeah, that's the best answer I can give you, I'm afraid.
Okay, another one we've got in from Tom Inkler. He says, nice tool. What platform are you using to host the widgets, and how do you make the widgets available to the user?
Okay, so we're the platform that we're using is just integrated into our Haven Care case management system. Now it's that we're integrating the dashboards through Tableau's sort of native functionality. It's a bit of their API and a bit of they're effectively, without being too technical, they're effectively iframes. So effectively mini web pages inside a web page when they get embedded. So effectively what we do is we use Tableau's API to get a list of all of the dashboards that are within, say, a particular project folder on Tableau server. And then we list them out. You can then choose one, and then it uses the URL of that dashboard to load it into this sort of little container that sits within our application to display it.
Okay, awesome. Still a couple more. Yeah, we've got a couple more minutes for questions. So another one on URL actions. So Mark Turner asks, do URL actions require dashboards to be running off Tableau server? Would Tableau Online or Public work?
Tableau Online would certainly work. Tableau Public, I wouldn't imagine. I've never tried, to be honest. I wouldn't imagine so with Tableau Public. You'll need an actual server, either online or Tableau server itself. It does require them to be published. Obviously, it requires a server to go to. So yeah, that is the only limitation.
Okay. Right, another one from Robert here, who asks, "How long did it take?" I'm not quite sure which element there.
So, in terms of actually embedding Tableau in this way, it's actually fairly straightforward. From the Tableau provide very good interfaces to be able to do some of the stuff that we're showing you today. In terms of designing a whole case management system, that's a whole 6-month, year-long project. In terms of developing the Tableau integrations, it's a lot less time. It really depends to the extent you want to integrate, but it's not particularly difficult. You can mock together a little example by yourself if you have some technical expertise in a bit of HTML and maybe a tiny bit of JavaScript within an hour or two. It's not hugely complicated.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So we had a couple more questions. One was, can you re-demonstrate how to link the table to the chart filter? I think we're running out of time to go through a re-demonstration, but this session is being recorded. So if you missed a couple of bits, then when it gets sent out, you should be able to just go back and have a look at it again. Also, if we had any more questions, then we can post them up on the community forum space, and then we can reach out to Andrew or whoever if you had anything else that we needed to answer. So I just want to say thank you very much to Andrew. That was a really interesting presentation, and yeah, certainly produced quite a lot of questions from the community. So I think you did a good job there.
Thanks, James. Good to be here.
Thank you. So moving on now, I'm going to hand over the reins to Anu, who will be talking to you about the Surrey Heartlands Hackathons. Anu.
Yes, I'm here. Can you all see my screen?
Not yet. Oh, yeah, there we go. It's just come up.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, James. I'm Anu Shaikh, a senior public health analyst at Surrey County Council, as James have introduced earlier. I'm here today to share the learnings from the project Surrey Heartlands Hackathon with you all. A year ago, when we started this project, I was totally not sure what hackathons were all about. And today I'm here to share learnings from this project with you all. It's been a quiet and exciting learning journey for me. So I thought I'll take you through this journey with me today. Before I forget, I would like to thank Alessandra Dinotti, project coordinator of this project, for providing details around this project to share with you all. If any of you use Twitter, I have also shared our Twitter links if you have any feedbacks or any comments. So to start with this, this project was a partnership project between Surrey County Council, Surrey Heartlands, ICS, 3 CCGs within Surrey Heartlands ICS, because within Surrey Heartlands we have got 3 CCGs, Kent Surrey Sussex Academic Health Science Network, and our industrial partner was Information Lab. And this project was supported and funded by the Health Foundation. The aims of our project was to create analytical workforce. We wanted to cultivate a community of best practice and create data visualization with decision makers and use these data visualization in decision-making process. So these were our aim of this project. So I wanted to take you through this journey and the process, how we did this hackathon. The first stage of our project was involved the recruitment of the project core team. It included a coordinator and a data analyst apprentice, and subsequently the wider team of analysts from the partner organizations. As this was a partnership project across health and social care, data sharing agreement was developed and agreed because this was quite essential. So our second stage of the project was about upskilling the analyst. The analyst skills were reviewed before the project started, and after this they received formal trainings. Not all the analysts which we did recruit for this project were Tableau trained. So for the hackathon, we were planning to use Tableau as our main tool. So it was quite important everyone was trained in Tableau. The training was adjusted to address the specific skill gaps. These analysts were provided with Tableau license and training. We had 2 sets of trainings. Information Lab ran a 1-day Tableau one-to-one session with those analysts who have not used Tableau, followed by a 2-day intermediate training for analysts from all partner groups. So we trained 15 analysts. We also set up a collaboration platform online to help the analyst in their self-directed learning and enable the analyst with more advanced skilled ones to offer support. The next stage of the project was development of the layered visualizations. And the use of data visualization, because I will be talking about hackathons itself later and how we develop the visualization. I just wanted to tell you about how we use these visualization. From these 3 hackathons which we did, we had around about 20 dashboards created, and I just want to give you some examples how these dashboards were used. The dashboard produced during the cardiovascular prevention hackathon were considered by a cardiovascular workstream steering group to select pharmacies to pilot blood pressure plus services in Surrey. The children's visualization helped women and children's clinical work stream to inform their work around first 1,000 days and helped to develop first 1,000-day pathway. The last stage of this project was a dissemination of learnings. We have been successful at ensuring that learnings from our approach has been disseminated more broadly at local, regional and national level. We just wanted to share what we have learned, our challenges, as well as the things which we found were good to run hackathons. At local level, we have created a page for Surrey Hackathon, information on Jive, the Surrey social media sharing platform, as well as we shared all the materials developed from these hackathons in the Surrey Intelligence website, Surrey Eye, and we at regional level, we have presented the learning from these hackathons at Southeast Public Health Intelligence Group, Public Health England, and so on. So the third and the final step was hackathons. I did say we'll talk about it in more detail later now. So as I mentioned earlier, we focused on 3 themes for our hackathons, and visualization focused on supporting the work streams within the Surrey Heartlands ICS. And we believe that the impact has been greater from these visualization. During the first hackathon, the cardiovascular disease, we did this hackathon in July 2018. We had around about 12 analysts, 8 decision makers, and 12 data sets, and we published around 4 dashboards in this hackathon. The second one was primary care networks. Primary care networks are GP registered population group of around about 30,000 to 50,000 population. So in this hackathon, we had around about 25, with this one, we had around about 17 analysts, 36 plus decision makers, and 20 data sets, and 5 published dashboard. By this hackathon, we did see that partners who were involved in this hackathon process gradually got more engaged and started and were willing to share more data. The final hackathon we did around children's was in March 2019. We had around about 25 analysts participating from different partner organizations. We had 16 decision makers coming to this process, and we had 20 data set across different partners who have shared, and we published 5 dashboards. So the organization hackathon involves, for me, there were around about 3 key stages. The first key stage was identifying questions to be answered at hackathon events. We did this through engagement meetings with decision makers, and through the course of project developed and a standard framework based on NESTA recommendation. So these were the questions we asked the decision makers around their specific problems, what they were trying, a clear data product, and if a product was developed, what actions they will be taking. So as an example, I'm giving you for the childhood obesity dashboard, these were the things we asked our decision makers, and this is how we developed a question. The problem was there is an increasing trend of childhood obesity, and if we could have a clear product, these were the questions asked by decision makers. Which schools should we be targeting for child weight management support? Other areas with high prevalence of children obesity, also areas for high free school meal numbers. From the questions or the intelligence produced from the hackathons, they wanted to target weight management service to the areas with increased risk. So this was the hackathon itself. During the hackathons, the second phase, what we thought what was really important was to identify, collect, and prepare the data to be used in hackathons. The data set to be used during the hackathons were collected from a variety of sources, which required significant preparation. As it came from different partner groups, and the data and information were not consistent. So we had to do a lot of data prep before hackathon. We also had pre-hackathon workshop to familiarize analysts and with the data, what they will be using on the day, and we found it was a quite useful thing to do. And the hackathon day itself, we divided the hackathon day into 2 sessions. Morning session where analysts were working on creating data visualization for the questions which they were provided by the decision makers. And the second afternoon was decision makers joined to help refine the visualization along with the analyst. On this day, we saw analysts and decision makers from across our integrated care system work together and co-produce new visualization. And it felt like it was a really good day. The project has been really successful in highlighting how much we could achieve if we improve data availability from all the organization, consistency in the way the data is collected, and also if it could be linked at individual level. Just to let you know, because this was a partnership project, the data and information which was used in these hackathons were all aggregated at LSO8 or to ward level. We did not use any single level data. We identified some key issues which proved challenging, and I thought it would be really good to share with you all if you are planning to do any hackathon in future. One was the analyst time. We experienced difficulties securing analyst time to work on the project because this was not business as usual for the wider analyst community. The analysts themselves were quite interested, but were not always easily released from their regular duties. We did not secure any analyst time after hackathons were completed. Hence, as a result, there had been delays in publishing the dashboards we created during the hackathons. So as a learning from this process, I think as pre-hackathons were useful to help analysts familiarize the data they will be working on, I think post-hackathons would be also useful for them to refine and publish their work and take full ownership of the dashboards they created on the hackathon day. The second challenge was more managing expectations of decision makers, because what we felt was the expectation needs to be better managed from decision makers, because some expected ongoing development of these dashboards, while as a part of this project we were doing one-off visualization. Hence our view that hackathons needs to be embedded within a broader agreement of analytical needs or a particular work stream or board will be really important. And the third challenge, or the big challenge which we faced as the analyst, was preparing data sets for the hackathon. We expected all our partners who were involved in this process to provide aggregated data set in the format we required, but this proved quite challenging, necessitating considerable data preparation time from a central team. You all must be familiar with this kind of issues when we work with partners across the borders. The way we collect data, the way we process data is very different. Preparing the data for the data visualization really took lots of time for us, but we are quite fortunate to have Information Lab on the board who helped us with preparing these data sets using Alteryx tool, which we did not have access to. So as a learning, what we feel that data preparation skill is as equally important along with Tableau desktop skills. While planning hackathons, if we are planning to train people around Tableau dashboard, it will be quite good to train people on data prep tool like FME or any other tool which your organization use. So these are the type of dashboards we created. I have put the link to our Surrey local information system, Surrey. if you would want to go and have a look. These are some of the questions which we asked. This was more around the cardiovascular disease hackathon we did. This is one of the dashboard we created on the workshop, where we looked at patients who lived in the GP practice and how we can map their wider determinants of health. So we mapped GP registered patient at LSOA level and looked at index of multiple deprivation data and mapped these wider determinants of health for each GP practice area. The second one, the second hackathon we did around primary care network. One of the questions we answered in this hackathon was to look at primary care network population and where were the community assets. So we looked at different indicators within within primary care networks and assets around that. So we had a list of assets from our we collected from different teams and partners. So we listed different assets and mapped it using Tableau. Our third hackathon was on children and young people. This was the question I think I showed you earlier as well, which we worked out with our decision makers, which school should be targeted for child weight management support and the prevalence of children with obesity and mapping them with free school meal. So this dashboard highlights percentage of children with a BMI category in their selected schools, as well as who receives free school meals. So if you want to go into detail in these dashboards, you can visit our Surrey local information system. We have published all the dashboards there. So after project evaluation, after each hackathons, we asked attendees to complete a questionnaire for, so we could evaluate the event, and also we could improve our approach for the next one. Each subsequent hackathons was planned taking in consideration the learning from the previous one. The process for each hackathons was slightly different, as we did take the feedback from analysts and decision makers who were present on the day. For example, we developed new ways of scoping questions and introduced pre-hackathon meetings to start the preparation of data visualization before main meeting. Because when we started the first one, cardiovascular one, we didn't had pre-hackathons. We did share the questions and we did share data sets, but all the analysts didn't get chance, but that was the feedback which we received, and we did these pre-hackathons for the other two hackathons. We published all the data visualization in Surrey and with the dashboards as well, and with the data visualization as well, we did start collecting feedbacks. We did repeated surveys of the analysts involved in the project. As I said, we got feedback from decision makers and attendees as well. We had some of the feedbacks which we received on the day, but we could not get, because we wanted to get a bit more detail around why those issues were flagged. So we did face-to-face interviews and focus group. And we are in the process of writing an evaluation report for this project. So how did we develop a common body of skills around data visualization? You could see we did pre and post hackathon. Before the project started, 80% of the analysts never collaborated with other analysts outside their organization. And around about 100% of the analysts and decision makers were collaborating after these hackathons. And did we develop closer working relationship? Yes, we did develop, and we also developed a network of analysts who, after hackathons, are supporting each other still. We also asked, are the hackathons effective way in producing data products, and whether this can be used for informed decision making. You can see from the results, people do agree it's a quite good way forward to bring data and information together from different teams. So the final thing was more around, did we develop a community of best practice? The project was successful in bringing people, data, and expertise from different organizations together. The analysts from CCGs became familiar with data we use within the council services, and I would say vice versa. We were able to know data that was held by CCGs and other partners as well. The decision makers were able to be part of the analytical process, and analysts were able to see how their work can aid decision making. These connections, in particular with analysts, are still there and providing to be very useful with other projects running in council and outside. The project has also been successful in highlighting how much more we could achieve if we improve the availability of data through different organizations. The consistency in the way we collect data will be really, really useful. The analysts involved in the project have significantly improved their skills both in Tableau visualization as well as working with decision makers to ask right questions while doing any kind of data and analytical work. The third and final area of change has been the development of hackathons as a useful approach to get decision makers and analysts together to provide better intelligence to support change. The developing Surrey Office of Data Analytics is planning to make hackathons as a core part in Surrey and Surrey Heartlands ICS. So these are the learnings from our hackathons. I will be happy if you have any question, and thank you all for listening to me. I'll be happy to take any questions if you have.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Anu. I think that was a really interesting story and really provides some insight into how you can kind of get those front-end analysts working with those decision makers to actually make the changes that need to be made. Yeah. So we do have a couple of questions come through, if that's okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so we have one from Vicky Johnston, who says, did you have any challenges with engaging the non-analyst stakeholders in the hackathons? And if so, how did you overcome this?
I think yes, because when the decision makers come in, because especially around our second hackathon, we had lots of decision makers in the room who might not understand Tableau or data process quite quickly. Because they wanted certain things to be changed, because the idea of hackathon is you are building dashboards together. So they did wanted to make these things change, but for those kind of questions and issues, we had we have brief decision makers as well around what they should expect, around what kind of questions we are trying to answer on the day, what are the limitations around data, and the questions which we were not able to answer on the day with the decision makers. We had to park it, and we had to tell them that it was not within the scope of the hackathon day, and we will process it later, if that answers the question.
Okay, yeah. So the next one, this seems to be a bit more of an internal one. We've got a question from Hans Rupan, who's in our adult social care department, who's asking, have we got any more hackathon events coming up, and how do we get involved in future hackathons?
I think, yes, we are, because adult social care within Surrey County Council is planning not hackathon exactly one day, but a series of hackathon to answer a series of questions. And I also believe a community of best practice within data and analytics are planning to run series of hackathons as well. So yes, and I think if there is opportunity, that it will be posted in Jive for sure.
Okay, fantastic. Oh, no, we've just had another one come through as well. So one from Helen Boucher, who says, hi, Anu, thanks for sharing your learning. Did you apply for funding from the Health Foundation to support this project? And how did you establish the collaboration with the Information Lab?
Yes, we did apply for this funding because we did write a spec around, like we applied for the bit around Advanced Applied Analytics project within Health Foundation. And how we involved Information Lab, because for Surrey County Council, Information Lab is the provider, and we have been working quite closely with Information Lab in Tableau. So we used, because we had to train the analyst as a part of the project. So we collaborated with Information Lab to provide trainings, and they were partner as an industrial partner for this project.
Okay. Fantastic. Okay, well, thank you very much, Anu. If anyone has any more questions that you didn't get a chance to, or you might think about afterwards, you can always send them through to me or Mike, or join up to the community forum space and post the questions on there, and we'll make sure they get answered. So now I think I will hand over to Mike to talk through some of the community activities that we've got.
Thanks a lot, James. Firstly, I'd like to say a big thank you to Andrew and Anu for their very insightful presentations today. It's really interesting to see an example of how Tableau is being integrated into a case management system. I think there's huge potential around the use of intelligence and analytics from a case management perspective, and it was a really good presentation from Andrew. I also thought Anu's presentation was a really good example of what can be achieved when we work across organisational boundaries to a set of common goals. And I'd absolutely echo Anu's point that data engineering needs to be prioritised and resourced at the same level as analytics. But I think there's plenty of food for thought there from both speakers. Just a quick reminder to sign up to the group page for updates and upcoming events. And I just want to spend a minute on the community forum that we've set up, and encourage you to sign up. So I know James has mentioned this a couple of times today. Having that dedicated online space to have discussions and float ideas for how we use Tableau across the public sector is really useful. We're often trying to achieve the same outcomes, deliver the same service, and often use the same systems. So let's not work and try to tackle those challenges in isolation. Let's work together as much as we can. One idea I've recently been discussing with James is the opportunity to do a bit of a collaborative piece on the work on the English indices of deprivation. So those that are familiar with the indices, which create the index of multiple deprivation, an update's due to be released in the next couple of months. For those not familiar, the index of multiple deprivation provides an overall deprivation score for small areas right across England, and it's a crucial resource for a number of public sector organisations to inform planning and allocation of resources. What tends to happen when the indices are updated, and the last updated in 2015, is that you end up with hundreds of organisations across the across England, that will spend time analysing the data within the publication, which results in a significant amount of duplication. So this kind of presents an opportunity for us to work together to develop a suite of products in Tableau that could deliver value to public sector organisations across England. More information on that can be found on the community forum, and please get in touch if this is something you'd be interested in getting involved in with either myself or James. If anybody would be interested in speaking at a future event, please get in touch with James or myself. Again, our contact details are on the screen now. And I'd also encourage anybody who's got any ideas about how we work more collaboratively or develop our community, again, post those ideas on the forum. That just leaves me to say thank you to everyone who joined us today. And thank you again to both of our speakers, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, everyone.